Hi, my name is Emma Tunison, and for my project, I will be doing Banff National Park, which is located in Alberta, Canada. So in 1884, the lake was named Lake Louise, and that was in honor of Princess Louise Caroline Alberta, who was the daughter of Queen Victoria. And then in 1885, Banff National Park was established, and it actually made it Canada's first national park. So the name Banff is derived from Banffshire, Scotland, which was the birthplace of two original directors of the Canadian Pacific Railway. So the environment in Banff National Park, basically the mountains in Banff are estimated at 45 to 120 million years old. And the highest mountain located in the national park is Mount Forbes, which measures at 11,850 feet. And in the bottom right corner of the slide, I've included a picture of Mount Forbes. So Banff National Park had over 1,000 glaciers, but of course, as global warming, some have melted. But the park covers 5,264 square miles. There's 1,000 miles of hiking trails, and they also have over 2,468 campsites. So a little bit on the history of Banff. In 11,000 BC, there was evidence that early relatives of the Cree, Stoney, Kootenai, and Plains Blackfoot Indians lived where Banff lies currently. And they also have found evidence that these tribes actively traded with one another. So European explorers first came to the area in the 1700s, but initial exploration of the Bow Valley area, which is where Banff National Park is located, is actually credited to David Thompson and Duncan McGilvery circa 1800. So the town was originally the central community for explorers and adventurers that were journeying out into the wilderness, and most of them stopped in Banff over the night or set up a permanent establishment there. So a little bit about the politics in Banff. Not a whole lot goes on in Banff itself, which is why I decided to expand into Alberta. But in Banff currently, there was a movie that was trying to be produced, and some of the scenes were going to be shot in the mountains in Banff National Park. And the park declined the movie the right to shoot there, which they have every right to do. And their reasoning was that an actor was going to be portraying an Aboriginal native to the area who was supposed to shoot someone else. And it was just in the movie of the script, but the park is trying to reconcile, reconnect with the native peoples that once lived there, and they thought that it would be not the best interest of Banff if they shot the movie there while they're trying to reconcile things with the natives that once lived there. So that's what's going on in Banff. But in Alberta itself, there's actually a lot of discussions going around about the minimum wage. And also, in great news, Alberta is now allowing the rehabilitation of orphaned bear cubs. And the reason that this is such a big deal is because a lot of provinces in Canada have a lot of rules against rehabilitation of bears. Now, onto the economy of Banff. It's really centered around one thing, and that's tourism. So on the left, I've included two images of the Chateau Lake Louise, which is the most famous resort in Banff that many people go to. And it was actually made a year-round resort in 1982. And what this meant was that now people could go all seasons. So the economy would be booming at all times. So in the summer, there's hiking and camping, and in the winter, there's skiing. You can ski at Mount Norquay or Lake Louise and Sunshine Village. So more than 4 million visitors have traveled to Banff National Park since 1996, when it really got up and running off the ground and lots of people started knowing about it. And in 1986 to 1990, $65 million was spent upgrading the Chateau Lake Louise. And you can see that it clearly went to good use because the Chateau Lake Louise is absolutely beautiful. And so I just wanted to include a little bit more about the Chateau Lake Louise just because it is one of the main attractions that brings people to Banff. And so I wanted to let you all know that it was constructed in 1911 and it had a lot of really famous visitors that have gone. And now onto the culture or the town of Banff. The town actually has an elevation of 4,537 feet, which makes it the highest town in Canada. There's also 9,386 residents, with 70% of them living on the north side of the river and 30% on the south. That's according to the census. And also 60% of respondents walk or cycle to work in the summer. And Banff actually has a goal of reducing the carbon footprint and helping towards a goal of eliminating or reducing climate change. So the main contemporary issue right now going on in Banff National Park is all about bison. So in general, bison occupy less than 1% of their historical range in North America, but specifically the plains bison are less than 0.5% of their former range in North America. So the park is looking to reintroduce the plains bison back into the national park, and there's a lot of debate going on over it. But I do think that in the near future, we will see some more plains bisons going out towards Banff National Park.